I'm here with Jimmy from 911. How you doing, Jimmy?
Hey, how are you? You alright?
I'm good, thank you. How did you feel about taking part in ITV's big reunion?
It was a strange request at first. I think when everybody kind of got the call, I think people, I wouldn't say we were apprehensive. I think it was just one of these things we had to kind of sit down and discuss how we were going to go about it. I mean, it was great to be asked, and it's fantastic now that we're in it. But myself and the lads have always had a thing where we're very upfront and honest about everything. So we decided that if we were going to do this, we would be as upfront and as honest as we can and tell people exactly what happened. But overall, everybody was kind of excited just to be in it. So yeah, it's a great move.
When you were on the show, how was it revealing everything that happened between you and the boys during the interviews?
Well, to be honest, we'd spoken about it a little bit over phone calls and stuff. Obviously, when they got us into our group interview for the first time, that was the first time we'd spoken about it. But it was a bit therapeutic, to be honest. It was kind of going through the turmoil of how it went in the old days. I think it was a good thing. So, although we were, the film had actually lasted for about 4 hours, even though it was only showed about a minute's worth. But for us personally, I think it was more of a therapy, so it was really good.
Well, I didn't know you were in there that long talking. That's a long time.
Between obviously, it's a whole day filming regarding obviously setting up and everything, but when we filmed it was at least 4 hours long, yeah, so we revealed a lot of stuff.
During the show, who did you get on most with out of the other groups?
To be honest, we got on with most of them, mainly because everybody's kind of older and more mature now, and most of the conversations are about doing the school runs and doing the day-to-day stuff, because I think everybody's just very, very laid back this time around. I mean, back in the old days, it was very hectic and young, free and single lads that, just kind of living it up. It's very laid back, and to be honest, I probably get on with everybody.
Back when you started, what would you say your career highlight was?
Because we were lucky enough to be big in Asia, we did a kind of huge stadium out there. It was like 60,000 seats, so it was great playing that. I think the experience of doing all the Brits Awards and probably doing our arena tours, because that's what we love doing, just being on stage. So doing 4 consecutive years of arena tours was amazing. So lots of highlights really.
When you got your first number one in the UK, how did you celebrate?
We were actually in Ireland. We were doing a TV show in Ireland when our managers kind of rang up and said, right, you've done it. It's taken, every time we released it was always, picked at the post by somebody getting number 2s and number 3s. And so to finally get number 1 was a massive achievement for us. Yeah, I think we just had a few too many Jack Daniels when we celebrated. We had to wait to finish the TV. We're actually in the TV studio when we got told. So although we were jumping around like lunatics, we had to kind of save our celebrations until we got back to the hotel.
You mentioned about you were quite big in Asia. Is that when you knew you kind of made it the big time?
To be honest, we always knew that when we were the success was coming, it was going to be very slow, and we'd worked hard for it. So I don't think there was a turning point that you actually said you've made. I think for us personally was probably when we stood on Wembley Arena stage, because that was one thing we always kind of looked forward to, and all 3 of us stood on the stage looking out. We'd achieved what we set out to at the beginning. But there's many different highlights. But for us personally, was probably Wembley.
And where were you when you first heard your song on the radio?
We were actually talking about this the other day, actually. We were in a car that we just hired for the day because we were on the way to do a road show. Because obviously our first 2 singles were released by ourselves, we didn't have the backings of like tour managers and record companies and all the rest of it. So we actually had to hire, I think, a £25 car, and we were on the way to a road show to do some promo for it. And I remember we stopped off at a little chef because we'd heard the song on the radio, and everybody just kind of got out the car and just ran around the car like lunatics because we'd heard the radio for the first time.
And how was it like doing a tour for the first time?
The touring week was amazing. We were lucky enough that, our show as a band was very based on, performance-wise and entertainment-wise. Our stage manager and official kind of stage manager was Kim Gavin, who did all the Take That tours. We've always had Kim on board because he knew that, all the breakdancing and all the backflips and somersaults that we do is part of the show. So we wanted to give the best show that we could. So yeah, we were lucky enough to kind of obviously have Kim Gavin on board. Touring for us was probably the best thing about it.
So I take it you're excited about the big reunion tour then?
Yeah, I mean, it's got its limitations because there's so many bands. We're only allowed to do a certain amount of songs, and we're only allowed to do. Obviously, we've got to work with the dancers and the choreographers and stuff, but you're limited to what you can actually do because of time, and then also because of availabilities on what's actually on the stage. When it's your own show, you can map out what you want. You can all kinds of slides. You can bring in risers. You can bring in live bands. You can do what you want. But unfortunately, with this one, we've got to stick to the rules of what everybody else has to do as well.
Can we expect to see anything bigger than what was showed on the concert on television?
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot different from what's on the TV because, again, only, everybody kind of got shown 2 songs, but it was only like half a song of each. From our point of view, it's going to be a few more songs because we're doing it in a kind of medley step so we can get a lot more songs in. All the breakdancing and all the dance routines is all in there. Did little bits on TV, but to be honest, it didn't really show a lot. We hope to give the full 100% on the tour.
Well, I'm very excited about the tour. I'm coming to see the Bournemouth show, and I can't wait to see you all.
Oh, the Bournemouth show, yeah, it should be good. Some of the venues, weren't built when we were touring the first time around. Like the O2 wasn't built. I'm actually looking forward to going home to Liverpool, to the Echo Arena, because that was never built as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Bournemouth myself. Should be a great night.
And is it difficult to sing and dance on stage at the same time? Because you and the boys, compared to the other groups, you do much more dancing. Is it hard to do it at the same time?
It is. You work it out in a way that I think a lot of the other bands don't really want to do much. I mean, that's up to them. That's their choice. But when we said that we were going to do this, we said it was all or nothing. You do it as you did it in the old days, or don't do it at all. And it is very tiring, especially on the voice, when you've got to work out your harmonies. But we work it in such a way that when you're doing your routines, you kind of put pauses in. So we work it very cleverly, really.
Can we expect any more music from 911 in the future? I'm sure you'll probably get asked that a lot.
Yeah, we're actually in Glasgow now. Literally, we are writing a new album for the next 4 or 5 days, and then with rehearsals next week, and we'll be back up here again. So yeah, we're literally putting a new album together as we speak. So we're not sure on a release date yet, but we'll let everybody know as soon as we decided on the first single. Are
you glad to be back together with the guys, writing on that like you did to start with?
Yeah, it's amazing. We were lucky enough. We were very close friends anyway. But from a performance point of view, it's fantastic. I mean, obviously your priorities are a bit different. That's exciting to kind of be back together and doing new music and all the rest of it. The reality is I'm going to miss my wife and kids as well. You kind of have to play the balance and deal with it the best you can. But yeah, everybody's loving being back together.
My last question for you, Jimmy. I know your current series of The Big Reunion hasn't finished, but there's already talk about a second series. Who would you like to see reunite on it?
Second series is as in next year, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had a chat to a couple of people because a couple of people have rang me and asked me if it worth doing. Like Bradley from S Club, I'm good friends with Dane Bowers. So there's been quite a few people, but it's more politics within the bands because obviously there's a couple of members of another level that don't speak. There's certain political stuff going on with S Club 7. I think I'd like to see maybe a few more of the girl bands like Eternal and All Saints maybe as a series 2. But there's actually a series 2 this year which is going to be us, which is basically the filming of us on tour basically. So obviously they're starting a brand new series next year again, obviously with new bands. Regarding series 2, it's actually another one for us this year as well.
It's the second series for you guys then at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think it goes out in September. Basically, the cameras picking up from the Hammersmith show and basically joining us on the tour buses and filming the tour, what goes on, and I'm sure lots of bits and pieces in between. It's going to be an exciting time.
That'd be really exciting to see.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to be a few more shocks.
I was thinking myself the other day, I hope you do something like that, and now you're doing it, so, oh wow, I'm very looking forward to that then.
Yeah, everybody's buzzing about it, everyone's excited.
Well, that's all my questions for you, Jimmy, I have. Thank you very much for letting me interview you.
No worries, thanks for your time.
It's been a pleasure, thank you.
Alright, take care, mate.
Bye-bye.